Welcome to Real Talk with the Town, where I sit down with the Marana staff to answer your burning questions about our beautiful community. My name is Terry Rosema, and I'm the town manager for the town, so let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Real Talk with the Town. I'm Terry Rosema, town manager with the Town of Marana, and today I have with me, Jason, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Jason Angel. I'm the Development Services Director. Thanks, Terry.
All right, Jason. So before we get into a topic here today, I got a little icebreaker for you. Okay. And I know that you're, deeply involved with youth sports.
Yep.
You got kids that have played it. You got kids that are still playing right now. So you have made the rounds around the Marana Park. So tell me, although they're all special, near and dear to our hearts, right? Which one do you like the best? What's your favorite park in the town of Marana?
Yeah, you're right. It's like trying to pick your favorite kid.
I can do that easy.
Yeah.
It's whichever one is being icest to me today.
I would say the nicest park is the one I spend the most time at, which is ORMA, and that is where a lot of our softball and baseball activities take part.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. Well, today we've got a somewhat controversial topic, and one that at least people down in the Ina and Silverbelt area have it's been on their minds for a while, and they've been talking to us about it. And I have a couple of quotes here from people that submitted some questions to us, and I'm going to read them, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So the first one is, why was the Amazon building on Ina and Silverbelt allowed to have such an obnoxious color scheme? It absolutely does not fit in with the earth tones found on other buildings and homes in Marana. It's an eyesore. So that's the first one.
Okay.
And the second one is, why did you throw the entire community who live on Silverbelt and Ina intersection under the bus? I'm not sure exactly what that means, but we'll try and address that the best we can. So let's go ahead and start with the color scheme of the Amazon building. Why did you allow that to happen, Jason?
Yeah. Well, the town does have adopted architectural requirements for commercial and industrial, and with that, it's general color palettes. So the general color palettes that are there, blue is acceptable color, but they don't get into the shades of blue, and so then it's a personal preference. But there's a wide variety of colors that are permitted throughout the community, and just like red may be obnoxious to some, it's not to others. So as long as it meets the color requirements, staff doesn't really dive into what palette is acceptable.
So it's kind of like in, correct me if I'm wrong, but that blue color, I believe, is like their signature color that's on all their vehicles and packages and stuff. Is that fair to say?
That is fair. Yeah. That is the signature.
So it would be akin to, I guess, the golden arches on the McDonald's, perhaps.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Many of the franchises that you see throughout the country have their distinct colors or their symbols that help to identify very quickly who it is.
Yeah. So if you personally were painting the building, would you have painted it a different color, Jason?
Yeah. My favorite color is green, so I probably But
yeah, I don't know if I would have gone with that color scheme either. It's not my favorite, but again, we don't really have, a huge say-so in what color people paint their buildings. We have a purple building that's on I-10.
Not too far from there.
That's one of the most obnoxious looking buildings I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I won't mention the name of the company, but I don't care for it. So, yeah, I kind of feel for the people down there in that respect, because it's not my favorite color. But yeah, so let's move on to the second thing. Why did you throw the entire community? And I don't know if this is you specifically, Jason Angel, or if they're saying, why did the town of Marana throw the entire community live at Silverbelt and Ina under the bus?
Well, and I think the question was directed at you, Terry. So
it could have been.
It might have been you. No.
It could have been.
I think the way I read this is it goes to general zoning, and this area specifically, the specific plan or the zoning that was set in place was adopted in 2014. And whether it's a specific plan or it's a town adopted zoning district.
Tell me the difference between the two.
The difference, so town adopted zoning districts are just straight zones that are residential, commercial, industrial zoning districts, and it just sets general parameters. These are the allowable uses, these are ones that are conditionally allowed, and these are the ones that are prohibited. And then certain guidelines, setbacks, all of that lie within. For a specific plan, it allows the individual or the developer to kind of create their own zoning. They might take a little bit of the towns and a little bit from over here and they put it together. It's still reviewed and approved by the town council, so it still has to be acceptable to the council. But most of the time what they do is they take our existing zoning districts and they just say, we like everything but, and they take out one or two things. Maybe they don't want particular uses in that area, so they exclude those. So
Okay.
it's kind of a little bit of a tweak from what standard zoning would be.
So in essence, once somebody has an entitlement via a zoning entitlement, they can put whatever is allowed under that zoning. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is correct.
So give me an example of like a commercial type zone where different things would be allowed.
Our neighborhood commercial zoning district, which is our one of our straight zones, a town adopted zoning district, has about 40 different uses that are allowed in there. And it's everything from commercial, general commercial, retail. Retail can be a wide variety of uses, to restaurant uses, to drive-through uses that are spelled out, to manufacturing being allowed. Manufacturing is a very broad category.
Right.
That you can do manufacturing of like small widgets that you like to sell, or it could be more of a heavy intensity of manufacturing, which includes a lot of machinery and noises and things like that, which may be more disturbing to others. In the case of this particular location, warehousing and distribution are allowed. But I think back in 2014, nobody really understood or could envision, I shouldn't say understood, but could envision a 220,000 square foot facility being located there. But nobody went back.
Yeah, 2014, Amazon wasn't doing what they're doing today, right?
No.
So let me see if we can correct perhaps some misperceptions or misinformation, I think, that was out there in the community for some time. So there was a prior zoning that was attached to the property, and then it was rezoned in 2014. The rezoning that occurred in 2014, did that allow for an Amazon as opposed to the previous zoning that did not allow for an Amazon or a distribution center, or did both of the zonings allow for distribution?
Yeah, both of the zoning. Actually, the zoning that was in place before was industrial and allows for warehousing and distribution as well. So whether it was the old zoning or the current specific plan zoning, that use was allowed and had been in place for, I don't know exactly how long, but it was a decade plus prior to the specific plan.
Okay. Now, what advice do you have to people when they're buying homes and there's vacant property around them? Because, I think some people, they buy a home and they have a view or they have some empty space around them, and they come to like that and totally understand, right? And then somebody comes along and starts building on it. So what's your advice to people when they're buying homes and they have empty property around them?
Yeah, I've been doing this for over 20 years and a number of different municipalities. And what I've found is that most times people will do more research buying a car than they will buying their home. Mm-hmm. The municipality that you live in has all of the information that you need to understand what is planned for or who owns the property around you and what could happen there. I would strongly encourage anyone, before you buy your next home, to go in and research the property, figure out what's going on. Realtors, I'm not going to say that they're trying to be shady or anything, but they don't know all of it. And public records have all of that information. So go in, sit down with a planner, sit down with a town manager, sit down with any of your local staff and ask the questions. And they can provide you with the maps and everything you need to make a well-informed decision as to, is that property going to remain vacant, or does Joe citizen who owns that property have just as many rights as you do on your property to put up another subdivision or an industrial development or a nuclear power plant, or,
Right.
you never
Right.
know what that vacant property could be zoned for.
I think that is outstanding advice, and I like your statement that more people will put more effort and energy into researching a car that they buy than the home that they buy, and I think it is wonderful advice. And having bought a few homes myself and not doing my due diligence on my first one, and learning from that, you don't own a view,
Yeah.
right? So unless you own all the property between your home and the view that you have, somebody can build something between you and your view. And it's always best to kind of know what those possibilities are.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So, I don't know about you. I can empathize with the people here that live at Ina and Silver Bell. They lived for some time with these wonderful views, and now they look across at a large distribution center and apartment complex that's going up. But again, those property owners have property rights,
Yes.
and those rights have been in place for a significant amount of time.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to say on that topic at all? Let's, you know what? Actually, let's talk about the Amazon just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the existing condition of it and what's going on with it. Because I was out there the other day. Looks like it's completely done. The parking lots are empty. Not a whole lot going on. So tell us what's going on with
Yeah,
that property.
we recently had a meeting with representatives from Amazon. For the last year and a half, we were working with the developer, Van Trust, who was delivering the project to Amazon, their client. But now Amazon owns the property. They do plan to utilize the property, but recent conversations with them, they said that it's probably going to be a year before they actually move into the facility. And that's just based upon their national approach to things. So they're downscaling in certain areas. In some cases, they've walked away from projects. That's not the intention here, they've informed us.
Now, you say a year before
Yeah.
they move in. So
Yeah.
my initial thought, as soon as I hear that, is, oh my gosh, man, this place is going to become an eyesore. The landscape is going to grow over. People are going to start graffitiing the place. Cars are going to go in the parking lot and do donuts and make all kinds of noise. So, what do you say to people who have
Yeah.
that concern?
Yeah, and that was our concern as well. We asked those very questions, and Amazon did inform us that they will have staff that will have eyes on the facility, maintaining the landscaping, making sure that graffiti doesn't. But if somebody does see something, please help us out. I mean, the town will make their efforts, I'm sure, as well. And Terry, I'm sure you'll speak with code enforcement and PD and them to help keep eyes on things. But if they see something, please let us know, because we don't want it to be an eyesore either, and we want that thing to continue to look nice and well maintained and manicured, because it is a very visible corner. So we will continue to make sure that it's kept up to the highest standard.
Excellent. Yeah, so I was actually in the meeting with you and some of the folks from Amazon, and they were gracious enough to give us their cell phone numbers and their contact information, people that are relatively high up in their organization. And so I felt a little bit of relief in that, knowing that they are going to have people on site paying attention to what's going on there. And you're absolutely right. I've already had the conversations with the police chief, letting him know, hey, pay attention. Pay attention to the facility and to the parking lots. We don't want people congregating there and
Yep.
causing any issues and problems. So anything else you want to talk about relative to the Amazon building or that area in general? There's obviously some other building and construction going on in that area. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the apartment project that is just north of the Amazon facility is continuing to move along, and as many buildings that have gone vertical, so that project will continue to advance. It's 300 units that are being constructed in there. And then we just received an application, a submittal for another apartment project on the south side of Silver Bell. On the south side of Ina, right next to the Circle K gas station. that would be another apartment project that's planned there. I personally haven't had a chance to look at the details of it because it just came in the other day, but that corner, had no interest, no activity for probably a decade plus.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden in the last year and a half, 2 years, it's come to
All
life.
this stuff is coming.
it's
What do you say to people who are concerned about traffic? What kind of analysis have we done? We done anything looking at the traffic impacts with these the Amazon, multiple apartment complexes?
Yeah. So as part of the submittal, especially the Amazon facility, that was a big part of the review was the traffic and the traffic flows. Not so much as just how they were leaving the site, but how even the employees were arriving at the site, including truck traffic, deliveries coming late at night or all during the hours. So it's evaluated 100% and monitored, continued to be monitored. So that's a requirement for all of our developments, is that they provide some level of a traffic assessment. Sometimes it's a statement because there's a master plan already in place. But as you know, sometimes it's a full-blown assessment with a large number of our staff sitting down in a conference room, talking about things and working through things. So even though the report is done and there's work being done out there to improve the intersection primarily at Ina and Silver Bell, our traffic team and our public works staff as well as PD will continue to monitor things and will always bring back, no matter where you're at in the community, where they identify concerns or possible areas of improvement.
Very good. Very good. I'm going to ask you one more question here, and this one really kind of deals with what control the council and your department specifically, development services and economic development too, with Kurt Woody, and he's been on the show here, talked to us about the new fries up here. But what control does the town have in determining? Because people will say like, well, I don't mind if you develop it, but I want you to put a restaurant there. I want you to put a coffee shop there. I want you to put, a beauty salon there, not an Amazon. So what kind of control do you in development services, does the town, the council, what kind of control do we really have over that?
Well, I think there's several levels to it, but let's go with the zoning process. When zoning goes through, that's where the council has the greatest discretion, because they don't have to grant the zoning. But many cases, zoning comes in and it's broad. So it could be a restaurant, it could be retail, it could be distribution. We don't know exactly who it is, but it allows the developer or the property owner to be able to market it. So the council evaluates that to see if it fits within the general flow of things and then makes the decision. Once zoning is in place, that's our department's responsibility, is to carry out the policies that are set by town council or the adoption of codes. So as long as it meets the requirements, as staff, we don't have discretion. We work within
You
the
can't
bumpers.
tell them, no, you can't put an Amazon there. We
Yeah.
don't want an Amazon there. The neighbors are not going to want an Amazon there. You're going to have to build a restaurant there. You can't do that.
No. We don't have that unbridled discretion to be able to just say, I would prefer
I like
you
that,
do this.
unbridled discretion. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, and it's and I work very hard with our staff to make sure that our personal opinions don't interject into our review of things.
Yeah.
We can encourage people, we can let people know that, hey, there's been concerns about this or that by council, the public, whatever, but
And you've had those discussions. I've actually heard you have those discussions, and I've had discussions with developers. I don't think the people, you're going to have a fight on your hands. People are not going to be excited about that. The council's not going to be excited about that. But ultimately, if they've got the zoning for it, they can put it there.
Yeah, but many times in those conversations that you and I have been in, when you turn to a developer and you say, I don't think there's going to be a lot of support or a lot of happy people over this, they take it to heart.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just want to ram something in. They want to be, good neighbors. They want to be a part of this community. So starting off on the wrong foot is not a way to be a solid foundation within a community.
Good. Well, Jason, I want to thank you for your time on this topic. It is a sensitive one, one that is near and dear to the hearts and minds of the people there at Ina and Silver Bell. And hopefully we've been able to answer some of those questions. Certainly was not the intention of the town or anybody here within this organization, council or otherwise, to throw the people of that area under the bus. And, although the color scheme may not be one that many people are in favor of, it's certainly one that was allowable. So, that is going to conclude this episode of Real Talk with the Town. Until next time. Submit your questions by visiting maranaaz.gov/realtalk, and we'll answer them right here. To receive notifications for new releases, remember to click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Also, please follow the town on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date on current news and events.